You're listening to Around Comics.
That's right. You are listening to Around Comics. You're probably watching it as well. Not at the same time. Well, I guess you're doing it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You could.
It is
you
an
could do one or
audio
the
visual
other.
experience.
This is true. It is. Welcome to episode 395 of Around Comics. And I'm Brian Salazar, and with me, as always, is Christopher Niesman and Tom Cater.
Reggaeton air horn.
I happened to be listening to an old episode of Around Comics. It was like episode 43 or something. It was a very early episode.
Early years, yeah.
Long time
And
ago.
God, we were so we had so much more energy.
Oh yeah. I didn't have kids yet.
We
were full of energy.
We were genuinely excited about comic books.
We were. Well, we still had plenty of cynicism in us, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was interesting to go back and listen to that early of an episode. It was like Andy. We were talking to Andy Parks,
of course,
about multi-talented, like people that do multiple things in comics, and
the writer inker Swiss knife.
At one point I go to ask him, how did you start as an inker? And I almost accidentally say, did you want to be an artist?
So how did you fall backwards into just being an inker?
Yeah.
Basically.
It's like asking like asking an editor, when did you decide that you were a failed writer?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or a podcaster.
Yeah.
But I didn't actually ask the question, but I almost did. And so that was, listening to it was kind of
that would have been the end of our friendship before it began.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's going on, fellas?
Man, it's it is the most October-like November up here in Milwaukee. I mean, the leaves haven't even fallen yet. It's like 60 degrees today.
Yeah, it was nice here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Last 2 days it's been very pleasant.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that will end soon enough.
Yeah. Soon it'll accidentally snow.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be over.
I know we'll jump into some of this on ACTV here this coming week. But I have not seen it yet. Has anyone seen Eternals yet? Have plans to see Eternals?
No.
I keep seeing and hearing positive things about it. So
I almost went over the weekend. My daughter wants to go see it mainly because Harry Styles is apparently spoiler. He is in the after scene credit, whatever the hell, and he's Star Fox. Arrows,
of course he is.
So she's very excited about that. But we didn't go. We're probably going to go.
Kit Harington isn't good enough for her anymore.
No, she gives 2 fucks about Kit Harington. She only cares about Harry Styles.
That's it.
Kit Harington's an old man.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So
we probably
you old bastard.
We probably won't go until she's here for winter break. So closer to Thanksgiving, I think we'll go and see it maybe.
When she makes the long trek from Lincoln Park all the way to Villa Park.
That's
I know.
Right.
Does she have her train tickets yet?
Absolutely. She has only. Well, we go pick her up. My wife usually goes and picks her up because
the 40-minute drive into Chicago.
40 minutes if you're lucky.
Depends what time of day. Yeah.
Listen, I don't want to hear anything out of you, Mr. Suburban Wisconsin. Let's
Milwaukee address, my friend. Milwaukee address. Even though
you hang on to that.
Yeah, I know.
So
you've been to my house. I'm just like, I have a fenced-in backyard.
I live in Milwaukee.
Yeah, like it's better. Like that means anything more than
kept my city cred, man.
Hey, a couple of things before we get too far in. One, I wanted to welcome a new Patreon. We got a new Patreon this week.
Hey,
Chris Cox joined our patron. So thank you very much for joining Patreon and becoming a subscriber. And also we had a comment on the YouTube page before we even started by a person by the name of Barimo. He said, fellas, or he or she said, fellas, I have to get to bed. I'm in the UK, so we'll catch up, but just wanted to leave a comment saying thanks. These shows are always fun and a great listen. My dog thanks you for the longer walks. So there you go. Little something from one of our UK listeners.
Yeah, we go on many a dog walk and train ride and car ride. So it's that's always fun. Nice to hear. And always good to hear about UK listeners.
Maybe we'll have to do some sort of daytime live stream show for our people on the other side of the planet.
We'll just talk about like British comics. Okay. We'll read some like.
Today we're going to talk about the Beano.
We'll talk about Beano in 2000 AD.
The two UK comics.
Yeah, there's only two of them.
That's the only two they make.
Captain Britain.
Captain Britain.
Our special UK episode where only UK creators.
Alan Moore, Grant Morrison.
Yeah, it's fine. It's what we talk about all the time anyway.
They probably don't want us to talk about it. We'll probably just ruin it all.
We'll eat British food.
Pigs in a blanket? Is that British?
Beans and toast.
Beans and toast.
Yep, beans and toast. It would be what?
I can't have that combination of starch and carbs. Are you crazy?
No. Yeah.
Not at your age.
Not at my age. Tom, that's bad news.
Well, fish and chips.
I could have some fish and chips. I had some fish and chips the other day.
Yeah, I'd be down with that. We can speaking of Patreon, real quick, if you listen or watch this here show, you should know that you can get all sorts of extra AC content like AC TV, where usually Sal and I will sit around and talk about the past week in TV and movies, what we like and what Sal doesn't watch and doesn't like that I am really enjoying, but we're not going to get into that.
I have not had as much free time of late
to
watch TV. I'm working on something. You will be the first to know about it, but I'm keeping it under wraps.
I'm
keeping it under wraps, and you will find out about it soon.
The Bigger Geek Show by Sal.
The biggest geek show.
The biggest geek show.
That's I'm putting on weight. I'm cultivating mass.
Sal's gonna launch his young adult novel series.
God, yeah.
Oh my Lord.
No.
The dystopic, vision of the future.
It's very dystopian. Yeah.
Yeah.
But before this, we can check out Arcane on Netflix. It's I've never played League of Legends. It's that's a thing that all the kids play. But yeah, it's an animated show on Netflix based on League of Legends, and I'm through a couple episodes, and I'm kind of enjoying it.
No, I'll have to tell my son about that. He likes that show or that game. I should say.
Yeah. Check it out. I'm enjoying that. So anyway, you can check out ACTV and Tom does Tom Versus, and there's Big Geek Show episodes and extra content, and it's like $5 a month. It's not. Just go to patreon.com/aroundcomics and check that out.
Because we are whores. Oh, sorry.
No,
nothing against
lights
whores.
On, man. Just gotta keep. Yeah.
What do you want? We'll make it. What do you want?
We'll give you anything you want.
What do you just tell me?
I was going to be really nasty there, but I didn't.
Stop it. Let's talk about comics.
You want feet pictures? Okay, fine. I know, I'm not into that, but if that's
what pictures of my feet? Is that what you're looking for?
What you want?
You want pictures of Tom's feet? Is that
you sickos?
Sick bastards.
But if that's what it takes,
hey, whatever.
Get your $5 a month. All right, I guess we'll do it.
Pictures of Tom's feet.
Yeah.
We do K-Billy Super Sounds. It's me and Tom and Will Pfeiffer talking about Quentin Tarantino movies and talk about feet. That dude,
no, hell no.
Oh yeah, Sal.
I just prefer to listen.
Yeah.
I want to participate.
Tarantino has a foot fetish. I mean, there's feet all over his movies.
He does. Yeah, admittedly, he has a foot. Yeah,
Dirty feet. You like dirty feet.
Who doesn't? I
I
mean,
know,
really.
right?
Let's be. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not a foot guy.
Let's talk about a comic, and it's a comic that all three of us read, which is damn near a it's a unicorn at this point on this show. We all read The Human Target by Tom King because it's a Tom King, and we should definitely talk about Greg Smallwood as well. But it's a Tom King comic, so we read it because we love Tom.
Tom King Corner.
It is Tom's Tom King Corner. That could be a new Patreon bit.
King's Comic Corner.
He's the king of comics. Oh wait, I think that one's already been taken.
Yeah, that one's already been snagged.
Yeah. Yeah. So guys, thoughts on Human Target?
It's terrible. No. You want me to go first? I can go first.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, first of all, I absolutely love Greg Smallwood's art on this. I'm a sucker for anything that sort of resembles a 1950s Mad Men-esque, advertising world, and this does that almost too well, to the point where I was a little confused because the world that they built looks like it's from the 1960s.
It's almost like a mid-century modern catalog.
Yeah. But I'm such a sucker. If I could draw, like if I was actually a good artist and I could choose how I wanted to draw, this would be how I wish I could draw. But I'm not, and I can't. But I really wish I could. So first off, the art's phenomenal, and I think it fits the character really well. Like he's, I think Human Target was like 1970s, but there's something about that kind of character. He's not quite a spy. He's not really he's not a private eye. He's not a superhero. He's the human target.
It's a little James Bond meets Donald Westlake, right?
Yeah, it is. It does have that feel, even though he's just sort of a guy
who's willing to get shot.
Yeah,
for money.
For money, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Like, giving out feet pictures, he's just willing to take a bullet.
Yeah.
Was a short-lived TV show.
Yeah, was it? And he's been in, I guess he was in the Arrowverse, the CW show. The character appeared in that, and he's been in multiple things.
Didn't Human Target have Chi McBride in it?
I don't know that I ever watched it, honestly.
Yeah, it was all right.
I'm sorry. Yeah. But it's so beautiful art, cool story. I think I like this character for Tom King because I think it fits his style really well, like the things that he likes to write about. And it's like taking a character that really, when was the last time anyone gave a shit about the Human Target? And now, giving it this prestige format, giving, one of their best writers and a great artist, and letting him he can do whatever he wants with it. You know what I mean? Like, I think Tom King seems to push the boundaries of everything that he does. I mean, you look at everything that he's done at DC, it's nothing typical. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't really write typical comic book stories, superhero comic book stories. He writes, out of the box kind of things. I am a little concerned because a lot of his comics seem to deal with suicide, which is...
Tom, are you okay?
Yeah, right. You know what I mean?
Is everything all right?
Everything okay, Tom?
If mortality.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Do you want me to go into the story or just
I want Tom to identify everyone on the Justice League International spread.
Oh well, that's not even that hard.
I didn't know. I didn't know everybody.
Let's see. Do I know everybody?
There's Mr. Miracle, Red Rocket.
I got that one.
Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, Black Canary, Fire, Ice, Nort, Martian Manhunter, Captain Atom.
Who's Nort?
Batman.
Explain Nort to me.
Nort's a Green Lantern. He's a furry-looking Green Lantern.
Yeah, he's like the goofy Green Lantern.
Okay, that's
who's the Russian cosmonaut dude?
Red Rocket.
Red Rocket. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So really, it was
Yeah,
just you didn't know who Nort was.
You
I
didn't-
didn't know who Nort was. That was
Yeah.
the one that threw me off a little bit because he did it. I mean, obviously.
Nort, you think Nort's the one who tried to kill Lex Luthor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or Rocket Red. Is
Well,
it,
that's
is
what
it
I
Red
think
Rocket?
is-
Is it right? It's Rocket Red, right?
No, Captain Atom, dude. It's Captain Atom. He's
Rocket
a
Red,
fascist.
Red Rocket, Rocket Red. I forget which
Rocket,
I think it's
Red Rocket. Is
No,
it
it's
Rocket
Rocket
Red?
Red.
I think you're right. Yeah, Rocket Red.
I think that's
Yeah, I
like
mean, you
what
can't. It's too obvious. You can't blame it on the Ruski.
I think that's what I'm intrigued most by this book is like the fact that they have sort of created this like mid-century modern story, but then injected like the least mid-century modern cast of like possible suspects.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the most 1980s comic book
Yeah,
that
like,
DC ever
yeah.
produced.
Which is like really interesting. So I'm sort of like intrigued by how they're going to have like sort of a mystery. The idea being that the human target, he's I'm not going to try and spoil it too much, but he's been poisoned by somebody in the Justice League International, right? So the story is about like him trying to figure out who it is that's done it, which is an interesting combination of throwing those characters.
And they're the
Into a
early
mystery.
suspects.
Yeah, they're at least the suspects at the beginning, which is sort of an interesting twist, and I think it'll be intriguing once you kind of see how this version that what's interesting though too is like the design aesthetic is very mid-century modern, but the colors are very comic book. Like they live very much in like a superhero world, where like things are really bright and like things are very like technicolor at times almost, right? So I'm intrigued to see once the story gets going how those characters interact with like this version of the human target.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my money on Darkseid. Actually, he's gonna just tie it all
On who?
together. It's gonna come back. It's gonna be Darkseid.
Well, it's gonna be like it's gonna be like Max Lord or something, or like
That would make sense, Max Lord.
yeah,
Max Lord.
I still go back to the beginning of the book, and the and once again trying not to spoil too much, but the idea that Lex Luthor basically painted a red flag, like if of his own assassination.
Yeah.
He created that. It's like that's intriguing, and they just kind of you kind of lose track of that because now all of a sudden you're following this other thing, and it's but I'm like why would that be a part of it? So I think there's got to it's going to be interesting though. But the idea of like here's your list of suspects, it's the Justice League International.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. It's
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Yeah, well, like, can you imagine Human Target like scotch in hand interrogating Nort? Like who is like a character not from that world at all.
Right.
Just like
Nort was the goofy,
he was comic
alien.
relief.
Yeah, he was Elf. He was the Green Lantern Elf.
Yeah, he was like purely like just pure comic relief.
In a pretty already funny book.
Yeah. But he was like, most of the Justice League International, they always did kind of a pretty good job of balancing out like there's still comic book superhero.
Yeah, they were still superhero stories.
Yeah, and they're still bad guys, and there's still funny parts. Most of the characters are still fairly balanced within a world of like they're funny, but like like they're also superheroes. Mm-hmm. And Nort was one character that sort of was like not at all have any of that balance. He was just purely like a total goofball character who would pop in and out and like
except for that one very special issue. It was like issue 47 that Nort had. No, I'm kidding.
When Nort
So
murdered
the very special episode of Family Ties,
Yeah, the very special Nort episode where we
Nort.
dive deep.
where we
into-
find out about his heroin addiction.
There,
Yeah,
there may have actually
he
been.
and Speedy had been shooting
Someone's
up.
probably done something with Nort. That's just
Yeah.
like, don't do Nort like that.
No, Nort is simply for laughs, simply for the jokes.
Yeah. So that was, that's what intrigues me the most is like kind of like when he starts interacting with these characters, like what's gonna happen? Like it's sort of funny to imagine, like Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, or him like interrogating
Guy Gardner.
Yeah, like exactly. Yeah, like it's fun. It's interesting. It's like a nice twist.
Well, and there's it's one of the opening pages kind of gives a preview of pretty much like the next 12 issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He counts down the days because we see the day 12. We see sort of the end of the series in the beginning of the book. And then he gives us this page that counts down day 10, day 9. It's a 9-panel grid, and it counts backwards to day 1, which we start then the story from. But each panel, it gives us sort of a little bit of a insight into what each issue may hold. And it's a beautifully little,
It's a great
very
page.
technicolor, very brightly colored page. Yeah. The
So
art's so good in this.
It's fantastic. So we by what are we? By day 8, he's going to be talking to Rocket Red somewhere. Rocket Red's going to make an appearance. So it's cool. That's why I'm saying it's not Rocket Red.
We don't know.
Here's this perfectly, I think, sums up Nort. This is from his Wikipedia page. Early in his career, Nort becomes inadvertently mixed up with the League's battle against the Manhunters. Recognizing Nort's general incompetence, the Corps had given him an uninhibited sector of space to patrol. The fact that the region was uninhabited also suited the needs of the Manhunters, who set up their home planet in Nort's sector. Nort joined Hal Jordan, Superman, and other Justice League members in an assault on the homeworld, although Nort's main contribution was getting stuck in the planet's ventilation system. So I think
Nort.
that's pretty much Nort. Oh, Nort. Not again.
So I'm down. I hope I don't get trapped by the usual Tom King thing here where I get like 4 issues in and I'm just like, I can't read this month to month. I'm losing track of stuff. I got to sit down and read it as a big chunk.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I think it's gonna be interesting because I don't know exactly what the tone is.
Mm-hmm.
It seems a little lighter. It seems a little looser than maybe
Mr. Miracle
or Mr. Miracle or some of the other stuff. Yeah, which I'm hoping, because I love Tom's work, but sometimes I do tend to get like washed away by it. You know what I mean? Like it's just sort of like, it's issue 11's out and I haven't read the last 4 because I don't understand the first 3. You
got to pay attention, and that's hard to do month to month to month. And that's and I love Tom as a writer. It's just hard for me to follow him on a monthly book because there's a lot of meat there and he challenges you, and so I think he reads much better in a collected form. And there are some series that I always go back to the Daredevil Born Again. That run was meant to be digested an issue at a time over a 6-month period, where Tom's stuff doesn't really feel like that, and that's okay. It's just I prefer to read his stuff collected.
Agreed. I try. I mean, I try and read it. I kind of do both. I read it month to month, but then I'm gonna get the hardcover and read it again just because I need to read it again. I'm not that smart. I'm not.
I need as many like swings at the ball as I can get. Yes.
It's good.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
a good
I
Yeah,
am-
I'm like a 220 hitter, just good enough to plod along. Well, I tell you what, I need to freshen up my drink, and so
What?
you're gonna
Wait,
spoil
pausing?
it. Tom,
We're just-
no, Tom's gonna talk about Strange Adventures, which I have not read. I'll
Oh.
be back in like 45 seconds.
Oh, I'm gonna
Another Tom King. It is Tom King.
another.
Corner.
It's the Tom King corner. Yeah, I
Yeah.
finished it. You
It's
know,
just slow clap.
slow clap. It happened, guys. We got to the end. I think maybe what's funny though is like the way we were just talking about like Tom King stories kind of unfolding. The last issue is rarely like the moment where the most interesting stuff happens. It is actually sort of like a more novel-like approach where there's the denouement, like sort of the like how things
Almost like an epilogue. It's like
almost like an epilogue or like a resolution
Yeah,
of like what happens. So I got to go back and read the whole thing from beginning to end, but it was good. And man, we've talked about Strange Adventures a lot, and
Yeah, almost.
Adam Strange almost too much. But yeah, it was a great ending. It was a nice story about Adam Strange. And
Am I gonna be like really like? Because as I'm reading the book, I'm like, oh, I mean, not that I have any great love for Adam Strange, but as I was reading it, I'm just sort of like, I don't know that I'm ever gonna like. I'm not gonna not hate Adam Strange when this is over. I feel like I'm going to hate Adam Strange when this book is over.
I felt more pity for him than I think than hate for him, because I think part of it, and we talked about this a lot, is like Adam Strange is kind of pathetic in that it's a story about someone like having to go to the other side of the galaxy to like get laid.
That's a very cynical way to look at it, Tom.
To be a hero, right?
The girlfriend that lives in Canada.
Yeah, my girlfriend lives on a different planet. I mean,
he didn't choose to do that.
No.
I mean, he chose to go back, I guess, but
constantly, desperately trying to find those Zeta beams, But like there's sort of like there's the priesthood of like like this guy, he's a hero on this planet, and on Earth he's just kind of like
just
not much, just a dude. So of course you'd want to go back. We talked about that with that other book that we read too.
Right,
of course you'd want to go to the place where you're
awesome.
You're fucking awesome, right? And like
that's why video games and comic books exist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because you can go to that place.
Yeah,
movies, and that's the entire entertainment industry.
That's all we're desperate to do, is go someplace where we're fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's why first-person shooters are so popular.
Yeah, virtual reality. Well, I will definitely read it. I mean, and once again, I'll get the hardcover. But yeah, Tom, and I think I'm going to talk about this a little bit with the book that you read, Chris. But Tom can kind of tear your heart out a little bit. Like, he's a good writer, and he can gut you with some of the stuff that he does to these characters, and not in a once again, I'll say not in a typical fashion. Like, he's not blowing someone's brains out or something like that, or killing a character you love, but he's sort of redefining what that character means. And sometimes it's hard to, it's a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah.
And I think with Adam Strange, that was the case for me. Like I said, I don't necessarily have or ever had a particular fascination or love for that character, but he's still, there's a sort of nostalgic quality in obviously knowing of the character. And it's like, oh, that's a tough, it can be a tough pill to swallow when he starts to deconstruct what it is to be Adam Strange, and you sort of turn him inside out and see,
does it in emotional ways that
yeah,
kind of get into you, and you're like, okay, I see myself in those faults, and that's where
it's really powerful. I mean,
it's very powerful.
Yeah. It's not a gratuitous sort of fucking with a character, but it is, it can be rough on your psyche sometimes, which is great. I mean, which is why I love Tom King's work, because it's not he, as we've always said, he takes a big swing. He takes a big swing at every story that he's doing, and I sometimes it doesn't work out for me, but sometimes it's pretty amazing.
Most of the time, pretty good. And it doesn't. I mean, he's also not out there, working with Vince Coletta either.
Oh, poor Vince Coletta.
Poor Vince Coletta.
Poor misunderstood Vince Coletta.
He was just trying to get the work done.
Hey, he was a hero. He was a blue collar hero.
These stupid kids need these comics they love so damn much.
I'm erasing all these backgrounds. That is busy work. No, but I mean, when was the last time? Tom King didn't have just an absolute brilliant artist, or artists plural, working on a book with him. So that's one of the things I love about Tom King books, is that you're going to get. I think there's a pretty big stable of artists out there that really want to work with Tom on projects, because he challenges. I think he challenges the visually as much as he does.
They don't give a shit about that. They just know that
draw cool shit.
Paid. They're gonna get paid, baby. They're gonna get a big 12-issue run. It's gonna get collected in a hardcover. They're gonna get some money. That's what they care about.
Yeah, that's true.
They're gonna get that Christmas gift money. Right? Everybody buying them hardcovers.
They might get that Disney Plus money, because I wonder how much. I hope that Tom, a lot of WandaVision came out of his Vision series. A lot of that was mined out of that series.
Yeah, I don't know how much.
Yeah, Marvel didn't probably pay him shit.
Probably not. Greg Porter, it's Mr. Miracle is the name you're searching for. He was talking about he was commenting on the YouTube page. He said he agreed on Tom King. I need the collection, or I have to read it twice. I am dense. And he said, oh yeah, Mr. Incredible, I think. Heartbreaking. Fantastic. No, terrific. Mr. Miracle.
Miraculous.
Mr. Fox.
That's my daughter's favorite movie.
It is. You said she's watched it hundreds of times.
Oh, she knows every line backwards and forwards. She absolutely loves that movie. Yeah. Although Mr. Terrific is another character that Tom King has used, but I think you're thinking about it. Yeah. So there you go. Tom King.
What book were you saying I was?
Primordial. The next issue of Primordial you said you had read.
Yeah.
I read it too, and I just, it's artistically it's really fantastic. Another terrifically drawn book, and just the way it's laid out and everything. But this issue,
but it's a difference between Lemire and King. I think Jeff tends to give a lot more air to his stories. They're not as dense. They're emotionally. They can be emotionally riveting and connecting, but so much more air. I mean, not nearly as dense as what Tom does.
Yeah, this issue in particular, there's barely anything said in it by any characters, and yet, I don't know that I could care for a fake dog more than I did after those, first 10, 12 pages of the issue. It's just like, fuck. And he said nothing. The dog, it's like, it did kind of, but yeah, it is a very different type of storytelling, yet at the center of it, what makes it good is the character and making you care about the character. And it's like,
he's going to rip our heart out with this story. He's going to make us care about those fucking monkeys so much that there's going to just be big, giant man tears one issue, and you're going to be, damn you, Jeff, why did you do this to me?
Yeah, I'm going to put a dog in this. Everybody's going to hate me.
I hope you like crying, bitches.
Yeah.
Jeff Lemire's going to make you cry. If you bring the tears.
If you thought We Three was bad, Jeff's bringing it. He's got 2 monkeys and a dog.
Well, if I after the first issue, I did look up the history of the the monkeys, and one of them is as I think I said the issue we talked about its corpse is on display at like some museum from NASA. So
Nice.
poor little monkey.
That's
That's where it ended up. So
not
yeah,
bizarre at all. You know, they
think
should
about
they
that
should
when-
they should do that with astronauts too.
Yeah.
Neil Armstrong, here is Neil
Buzz
Armstrong's
Aldrin.
preserved corpse on display in Huntsville, Alabama.
Well, humans are more important than animals. Sorry, Chris.
Debatable.
Not by animals.
They
They don't get it. They don't get a fight. They don't get to debate that one.
True. Who does the art on this? I forget. It's Andrea Sorrentino.
Yeah.
And it's you talk about how much we love the art in Human Target. Lemire's another one that I think you just see, great artist after artist, and with Lemire, a lot of names that I'm not always familiar with whenever I first read his books. But yeah, he seems to attract great artists. And now that you say it, probably for the same reasons, they know they're going to get paid.
Yeah, this book is
It's gorgeous.
I hate using this term, but it is a tour de force of fucking art. You know what I mean? Like there's 3 or 4 different styles depending on the part of the story that's being told, and there's some pages that are just hallucinogenic, sort of in the way they look, and just there's some awesome stuff going on in that book for sure. Both of these books that we've talked about are just and all 3 I should say. Strange Adventures, you have 2 great artists working in that one, so
we'll tell you if we do cover a book where the art's bad.
Yeah,
We'll be like,
it happens, and I know it's all subjective, but I had one last week that I had to put down because I just wasn't visually just wasn't working for me.
Whoa, Tom just went into the Matrix. Something's going on here with his camera. Well,
he's fine to me.
There was a little glitch there. I don't know what was going on.
Glitch in the Matrix.
Glitch in the Matrix. Well, I read a book. I wouldn't say that the art was the standout part of it. It was good. Certainly, I don't think on the level of either of these books, but I enjoyed the story very much. It was called. It's from Aftershock Comics. It's called The Heathens. Issue number 1 came out. It's from Cullen Bunn with art by Sammy Caviglia. Once again, it's one of these stories where it's like the setup is so good. Cullen Bunn, I think, is maybe the best sort of setup guy for a comic. He comes up with more ideas, like really good ideas for a book. And this one
Forever,
is
that was Rick Remender. Forever.
Yeah, Remender too. Yeah,
just an idea machine. Just
like here's a
elevator
book. Yeah, great elevator pitch. And basically this is the elevator pitch of this is that there are heathens that escape from someplace. They don't ever say it's hell necessarily, but their souls escape from someplace and they're back into the world, and they're really, really bad. The couple that we meet are Jack the Ripper and the Zodiac Killer, and there's a group of other heathens that aren't as bad put together to go hunt them down by Joseph Stalin.
What?
What? Yes, that was yes.
Jesus wept.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
So it's like it's Billy the Kid. It's I don't know. It's a woman who's like a legendary Chinese pirate, an Asian pirate. There's another woman
it's the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, kind of. Except they're all like demon. They're all like dead. It's just like their souls. They're back from the dead, and they're put together by Joseph Stalin for some reason. Yeah, it's essentially like these souls have escaped from hell, and they're sending other souls to go get them. But they never use those terms. They don't show you the devil. It's Joseph Stalin. Whether or not he's the devil or he's working for the devil, they don't say. It's just Joseph Stalin's in charge of putting this group together. And the female pirate, I wish I had her name. I wish I would have written down all these characters' names, but I didn't. She's sort of in charge. And then you have two guys that were like gangsters. I don't remember their names either. But whatever. It's historical characters, all historical characters. Some of these seem a little more obscure, other than Billy the Kid. At least to me. I'm not, that well versed in history, but yeah, it's kind of funny. I mean, it's weird. It's kind of funny. It's not. It seems a little lighter than some of Cullen's stuff, even though the subject matter it's dealing with it kind of had a sense of humor about it. And it does kind of skirt the line of like you're rooting for some really bad people to catch some really, really bad people. So it's like very anti-hero-ish,
little Suicide Squad-ish, a little bit.
Yeah, a little Suicide Squad kind of, and they're trying to do it to save their own souls or redeem themselves. If they go out and get enough souls, then they're freed, but no one has ever actually done it. And there's this great, I rarely ever read back matter, but in this particular issue there was back matter that was great, because it was the notes from the desk of Joseph Stalin in regards to the different characters and their progress. It was really good. Yeah, so really good, really fun. I didn't know, I didn't have anything going into it, like expecting anything. I didn't know what it was about. Yeah. And it was really good. It was a really great idea, and we'll see, where it goes. But yeah, it's pretty funny. Pretty good. Yeah. Cullen Bunn, he's written so many things where I'm just like, oh, that's such a great, like, why didn't I think of that sort of thing? You know what I mean? He just has so many of those great pitches, elevator pitches. He's very good.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's mastered it.
He's been doing it for a long time. I still think, Sixth Gun is one of my favorite. Sure. And then The Damned. I mean, right from the get-go. Was The Damned the first thing that we read of his?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it was certainly early on.
Yeah. Prohibition era America with gangsters and demons. Okay. Yeah. Why hasn't this been done before?
He's obviously a history buff, because he a lot of his books, a lot of his series have to do with historical times or historical characters, that kind of thing. So,
and myths and mythology, which is a great transition into something I read this week. We all like the Hellboy, right?
The Hellboy.
The Hellboy.
Hell yeah, I like the Hellboy.
I don't know. It's interesting because we're seeing more and more that Mignola. It's Mignola with Christopher Golden, and I don't know where Mignola ends and Chris Golden starts anymore. It's you almost get the feeling that Mignola, I have no idea if this is true or not, that Mignola may just kind of be like helping with the plotting, and Chris Golden is doing, most of the heavy lifting. I don't know if that's the case. You kind of get that feeling a little bit. But they're writing great stories, and once again, Art Mignola. It's interesting because a lot of the artists that work on Mignola properties kind of skew their art to have a Mignola flair to it, and Matt Smith is one of those artists that does that really, really well, where it's not exactly Mignola, but he kind of captures that, dramatic, hard shadow style. He draws skeletons really good, that kind of stuff. But with this latest one, it is Hellboy, The Bones of Giants. Don't know exactly the era, but we get to go back to where Hellboy is a member of the BPRD, and he and Abe are out on a mission, and they're in Sweden, I believe, and this guy gets hit by a bolt of lightning while he stumbles upon a hammer, and tries to lift the hammer and gets hit by a bolt of lightning.
The ancient hammer.
And ancient hammer, as if it were held by a god of thunder. And no one can lift this thing or move it. And Abe and Hellboy get there, and miraculously, Hellboy is able to lift the hammer, and unfortunately, it gets fused to the
right-handed doom.
Yeah.
And he can't get rid of the damn hammer, and he's having like these weird like flashback dream moments where he is the god of thunder, and so they have to, starts off this adventure that he and Abe have to go and figure out what is going on and why he's fused to Mjolnir. And it's an awesome Hellboy BPRD story. It felt like a big warm blanket.
Do you think when they consider having an artist draw Hellboy, they're like, let me see your skeleton.
Probably, yeah.
Show me skeleton. What's your spooky skeleton look like?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I need a wolf. I'm gonna need a frog person, 3 owls, and a skeleton out of you.
Yeah.
Before we can
Show me an old man.
Yeah.
Draw me an old man.
It's got to be a skeleton with skeletal wings, though. It has to have had wings at one point. Yeah.
How are you on ancient ruins? Are you... I do love the scene where he picks up the hammer, because it's very Hellboy-esque, where it's
Isn't
like,
it? Yeah.
Nobody's been able to pick up the hammer. Oh, there he goes and picks up the hammer. And it's just sort of like
wink
easily, yeah. But then of course it gets fused into his hand, and he just can't get rid of it. Yeah.
And now you're just thinking, as having read Hellboy for 25 years now, you're like, geez, he just fused the right-handed doom with Mjolnir. This is not going to be good.
It's not going to end well for anybody, I don't think.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's when they hit it right, and not every Hellboy story is like that anymore. But when they kind of hit that sweet spot, there's really nothing more fun for me to read than a good Hellboy BPRD story. They're just, like I said, it's like a big warm blanket. I love them. And this was there for sure. It was the most fun like Hellboy issue that I've read in a while, and part of that is certainly the art. Yeah, Matt Smith is awesome.
Yeah,
it feels like an old Hellboy story. It feels like a Hellboy story out of like 2004, right?
For sure, absolutely. I mean, it's not Mignola, but it's as close as we're gonna get to Mignola. You know what I mean? Like without it being a complete ripoff. I mean, it's Mignola with at least some different style.
And you can't talk about a Hellboy book without saying the name Dave Stewart, because he's kind of, as probably even more than Mignola, he's kind of been the through line that has like been there the entire time. I mean, Dave Stewart colors are absolutely a cornerstone of that series.
Well, visually, I mean, all of those books look so cohesive because he does almost all of them, and he has that flat style that is sort of Hellboy. It is, what I mean, like it is what it is. But this was a really good issue. This was really fun.
Yeah, it's I haven't enjoyed a Hellboy story this much since probably The Wild Hunt.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember back. I don't know. Yeah, it's been a little while. I mean, I've read them, but I haven't been like, floored by a lot of them. But yeah, this one was really good.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's going through the motions of we're gonna roll out another Hellboy series to, keep Dark Horse in business.
We gotta pump them out every once in a while.
Yeah. But no, I love. If you felt like Hellboy was just kind of going through the motions, this one it's back to being like prime Hellboy. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Christopher Golden. Now, Oh, I was thinking. I'm like, wait, wasn't
You're
Christopher
thinking
Golden
Michael
already-
Golden?
I am thinking Michael Golden.
Yeah.
Who the hell is Christopher Golden? I don't even know who
Different.
Christopher Golden is.
I think Christopher Golden co-wrote some of the Baltimore novels with Mignola. I might be wrong there, but I feel like they may have started their relationship doing the
There.
prose stuff on the Baltimore.
Mhm.
I may be
Gotcha.
wrong, but
That
Yeah,
we
sounds-
need the comment section.
Until you just explained it or clarified it, I still thought it was Michael Golden.
You're like, huh? All right,
Yeah,
I guess
it's
I didn't
exactly
see
what I
that.
was like. Oh, Michael Golden, Mignola.
Yeah,
Interesting.
good-
That's
good-
exactly
good
what
for-
I thought.
Good for him.
Well, that's
Like,
nice. Well
That
done.
is exactly what I was thinking. I was like, oh, they must be buddies. I didn't know that they were friends.
Didn't know he could write. So
Yeah, had no idea. Had no
Yeah.
idea. Yeah.
well, it's a long way from Micronauts.
There you go.
Oh, hey. What else? Anything else? Did we read anything? Is that?
I read I read a few things here and there.
I
yeah,
wanted
go
to. Well, we talked about this last week, but
Mhm.
I went finally to my comic shop and picked up my hardcover issue of Catwoman: Lonely City,
Mm.
the
Mhm.
Cliff Chang book, and
Mm.
it's the large format, the black label format.
Black label format.
Man,
That's
go
gonna
get
be a hardcover purchase for me when
Yeah,
when it
for
gets collected.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, it's really pretty I love this I wish all comics were this format. I wish every single I would buy so many more comics. Luckily they're not, I guess, because
It's all in the prestige, big
just-
oversized. Yeah,
I love the wide format, and it's just something about it, I don't it's
Yeah.
pretty.
Premium.
It's one of the things that I felt like DC did a great job of in the early 2000s, probably up until about 8 or 10 years ago, where they really kind of were pushing the bounds of
Mhm.
format, and they would it's like Wednesday. I mean, they came out with Wednesday comics. They didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But it was so cool that they would push and try and I think that there are people at DC that felt like they had a responsibility and an opportunity to push the envelope on what comics were to the normal comic book fan more than like an indie publisher or like a Fantagraphics could do, because they could get it into comic shops. And I feel like they kind of moved away from that, and now with Black Label I feel like they're trying to embrace the idea that everything doesn't have to be the standard comic book size and page count. You can do it's a bigger medium than that, and so it's good to see them trying to embrace that a little bit again.
They're also, to me, it feels a little bit like they're trying to appease different buyers. You know what I mean? Like they're doing a lot of stuff in the sort of regular issues with the regular books, whether it's, Superboy becoming Superman and him coming out, or Tim Drake, or, whatever for more of younger readers. I think they're trying, which I think is a good thing. But then
the Harry Styles generation.
The Harry Styles generation. And then with the Black Label stuff, it feels like it's a little more for the older
for you and me.
Yeah, for I mean, let's be realistic. Like, a lot of the audience has grown up, and I think that they're trying to appease both, which I think is a good idea. Like, I think that's smart, because, like, for one, I don't need 40 issues a month of DC Comics.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I have no interest in that many comics. But you give me one a month of, a Cliff Chang Catwoman story, or a Tom King story, or a Brian Azzarello, Joker story. It's like, oh, awesome! It's in a prestige format. It's it's like I'm great. I'm not reading
the Wonder Woman Rare Earth stuff.
Yeah.
Or
Absolutely.
Dead Earth. I mean,
Dead Earth.
The
amazing.
It's a prestige format that showcases prestige level talent in they don't jam everything into that size. They're not trying to make every comic look like they have like this art, we have this caliber of artists working on this. Like this is going to be a Black Label book, right? And they would look gorgeous, right? Like that's the it's not just the idea of like, hey, in a Black Label book, anything could happen because it's not tied into anything. I mean, that's part of it, but it's also like it's a brand that's like also you're gonna get like fucking sick art. That's what that's what it is.
Well, you might only get 6 issues, 8 issues, or 12 issues in this story. It's not a continual monthly thing that's going to go on and on and on and on, where you have to sort of that's hamstrung a little bit as a writer, as a creator. You're sort of have to come out with that monthly thing. You're restricted to certain what you're able to do in that.
You're targeting a certain audience that might have affection for these characters, but don't want to have the commitment of like, I don't need to read like Detective Comics every month.
Right.
Like, okay. Yeah. Like, I don't want to know what else is going on. Like it's,
I'm not, I'm not that target audience anymore. And that shouldn't, those books shouldn't really cater to me. You know what I mean? Like Superboy or Aquaman, or, it's like, I don't think that those books necessarily should cater to me any longer. I'm 50 years old. Write those, you know what I mean? Like write those for a younger audience.
Because a 40-year-old.
40.
40, a young man of 40. Yeah. I think, I do like the Black Label books a lot. Not, I think there's times where the comic publishers will try a format thing and they don't commit enough to it. And it never develops like an actual brand to what it is, right? Like it'll exist for 3 months, like we're putting out these type of books, and then and then they kind of fade away, and like it never builds any equity, right? Like you don't like that. I feel like the Black Label books have sort of developed that, like what you're getting with a Black Label book, like not like I know what I'm getting in that, like it's the type of meat and potato story. It's like I'm gonna get like really great art in this big format and like interesting story, and like that's not a common thing in comics for anyone to commit to something like that and like actually carry it through to the point where like it actually it is something, like it has like equity to it.
Well, I think it scratches the Vertigo itch for a lot of people.
I often think about what was it that led to Dan DiDio's leaving DC Comics? Because it seemed like it was, from everything that I sort of read about it, it seemed like there was a fundamental disagreement in the direction,
philosophical differences.
Yeah. And I know he sort of was really behind the whole what was the branding, Future State sort of concept, and as we sort of saw, that came out and kind of came and went and didn't really end up being a big part of DC Monthly. And I wonder if this is partially what the fundamental disagreement was about. Like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to push the younger audience towards the monthly books and try and make a separation between our, because I think that's, I don't know. I'm just guessing. I don't know if this is actually what they're even trying to do or not. It feels that way. And I think if they are, I think it's a really smart thing, but I think it could also have been a very risky thing to present, you know what I mean? Like, of going, well, listen, DC, we have to come to the fact that a chunk of our audience is like 50 and older.
And they buy comics.
They do, but they don't buy as much as they used
and
to.
they buy hardcovers.
And
They
they
buy
buy
hardcover.
hardcovers.
So we need
So
to
let's-
start giving them
What they
those
want.
premium.
Yeah, but I think where Sal is going is that they're not all of our customers.
Right.
They are.
And they can't be.
They are a segment.
They're gonna die. They're all gonna die someday.
They're gonna die, but there is a market there, and it's a publisher.
Yeah.
They're trying to sell comics.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
market there, and these folks will buy those comics. And I think that there's actually a lot of younger comic readers that will buy those as well. But yeah, I think you see the mainline DC and Marvel is that they're diversifying. They are trying to appeal to and it's not just younger readers. I think they're probably trying to appeal to younger creators and give younger creators properties that they want to write and draw, which makes a lot of sense. All right.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's hard to.
We've often talked about the scholastic world, right? Of the scholastic book fair, and comics. Your traditional 22-page comic doesn't fit that world which is where the action is, right? And obviously Black Label books aren't in the scholastic book fair, but they live in that universe of their library material. They're they're not stuck in comic book stores. And I love comic book stores, right? But they're not they're not relegated to that zone, right? Of where your 22-page comic lives and where your trade paperbacks of those live, right? You go into the library and you go to the graphic novel section. It's not every book is the same size with there's so many different things and different formats from manga to these prestige level books. That's where books go, that's just the reality of selling books is they're not all formatted the same, right? And it's a weird comics thing we have in our brain where we're this is the format of comics. They are this size. And you take them, and then when you have enough, you put them in a book that is also the same size. And then they will sell you a bigger book later. It's we're very
it is
it's insane. It's just say it, Tom. It's crazy what
we're very regimented in how we think about the format of the books we read, where it's a comic book feels like this, right? It's this long, and when in reality you go and look at the fucking graphic novel section, and there's all kinds of shit that's all kinds of different sizes and different lengths, and it doesn't all conform to the size of a spinner rack from 45 years ago.
Comic book stores are doing pretty well. I read an report recently about 2021's numbers, and it seems like it's
they're doing
better than pre-COVID numbers.
Oh, really?
2021 for comic book stores is going to end up better than since 2018.
I mean, in the format thing, it could help comic book stores too, right? You go into a good comic, it's funny, right? You are no longer constrained by how many books you can fit on this rack, and make sure that people can see the name of it across the top. And the logo of the company, right? That's where those design elements come from, is the reality of selling comic books 50 years ago, right? And we've ingrained those so much in our aesthetic judgment of what a comic book feels like. That I do think it's cool to see DC do this and to see different publishers push the actual physical format, outside what your preconceptions of it should be. It's of course, why shouldn't it fucking Black Label book? Why shouldn't it be bigger?
What's stopping
Yeah.
us?
What's stopping us? Yeah, like you know, it's like it seems like, oh my god, they've made this. You know, it's like if I showed my wife that, she'd be like, yeah, it's a different size. Like books are different sizes. like, you know, like
yeah,
duh.
what's your point?
Yeah, of course. Look at the bookshelf. It's not like all the books are the same size. You know, like yeah, it's just.
But it's bigger and
It's
got
bigger.
It's got a spine.
Okay. Sure,
So
you know.
an interesting tidbit I overheard while at my comic shop. The people that own it were talking amongst themselves, and I was browsing, but I was also sort of softly stalking and listening to their conversation as they were talking. Yeah, a little something.
A little bit of that.
And they were talking about C2E2 plan. They're planning on going to C2E2, that kind of thing. And but one of the interesting things they talked about was that the guy's like, we're not bringing any manga to C2E2 this year. He's like, this will be the first time we don't bring any manga. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why. And evidently it's because they can't get it. They can't keep it in stock.
Oh, supply chain.
So they're like, yeah, supply chain problems. And they're like, there's no point. We can't keep it in stock, so we're not going to bring it to C2E2 and sell it at a discount.
Interesting.
You know?
Yeah, because that's where, I mean, it's still where a lot of retailers bring their overstock and their,
right,
dollar bins, that kind of stuff.
So probably not going to find a whole lot of deals on manga at C2E2 if you folks are looking for that. So no, I don't even know. I can't even name a manga.
No Full Metal Alchemist.
There you go. That sounds like one.
Crazy
Death
that they
no 20th Century Boys for you, Sal.
Can't keep it in stock, baby.
Can't keep it in stock. We're not selling it. No discounts. No discounts. Supply and demand, folks.
You got it. Speaking of supply and demand, we have reached our 1 hour supply, and I'm demanding that we wrap up this here show. What a transition there, right? We mentioned Patreon. Thank you for our patrons. We really appreciate it. Helps us not worry about keeping the lights on here. Are you showing off some manga there, Tom?
Some Pluto.
Oh, I like Pluto. Yeah, that's what the Astro Boy kind of
next. The closest one I had within reach.
20th Century Boys was a good one. I did like that.
I like that. Yeah, there's
the thing with manga though is like there's 9,000 volumes. It's like this.
It's hilarious because as much as we talk about the format of American comics, Japanese comics does the same thing just in a different way. Right. Right. It's you go there and it's very regimented. It's very fucking Japanese.
It's very Japanese. Well, yeah, it is Japanese.
Yeah.
Very
Actually,
Japanese.
One of my favorite one is not manga. It's manhwa. Is it manhwa? Which is Korean comics. Old Boy.
I don't think I ever read it. I saw the movie.
Yeah. Which one? You made two.
Both.
Which one did you like? Did you like the Korean one?
Yeah, the Korean.
Yeah, not the Brolin. Not the Brolin.
I mean, it's fine. It's just not. There's nothing better about it. Like there's, you know what I mean? Like it's not a better movie in any way.
Still one of the greatest fight scenes of all time. The hammer fight in the hallway. Still one of the. It's. I think there was like Daredevil, the Netflix.
The stairwell fight.
What's
inspired by?
Okay, that's obviously someone who was inspired by Old Boy in that one. So anyway, this has been another episode of Around Comics. We love that you listen and watch and whatever. We also love if you interact with the show, which you can do. Like,
I got sorry. One little just before you finish. One little story about Old Boy. A friend of mine. I can't remember if it was his grandmother or his aunt. It was someone he told that it was a comedy.
No,
he told them,
Jesus Christ.
Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna laugh your ass off. And you watch. Yeah. So do that to your grandmother. Tell your grandmother this Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Amazing Korean comedy that you have to
go watch Old Boy. Make sure you watch to the end.
Oh God.
No spoilers. It's not nice. Oh Jesus, that's horrible. Horrible people.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Thanks everyone for listening. Email the show info@aroundcomics.com. We love getting your emails and being able to discuss those topics. And
Voicemail.
Voicemail. What, do we have a number now?
We do have a phone number. I don't have it off. Go to the website. It's on there. Aroundcomics.com.
Yeah,
You can
we're
find
gonna
it.
write it
Everyone's-
down. What are we gonna read it? Just say it out loud? You're gonna write it down or something?
Yeah, right.
You're gonna look it up anyway.
Right.
We have a trade talks coming up. Are we doing that in 2 weeks? Is that 2 weeks? We're gonna do that.
I'd have to look at the calendar.
You know,
End of the
and
month,
it's
something like that.
it's only a 4 issue. It's the Ice Cream Man, and it's
Ice Cream Man.
the,
Stop me when I'm.
yeah. So it's probably gonna be a trade talk
I'm an ice cream
slash
man,
some
baby.
other stuff because it's only 4 issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll do that in 2 weeks. We'll do Ice Cream Man in 2
Is
weeks.
it 2 weeks? 1, 2, or the 30th that we're doing it on?
We can do the 30th.
So that would be 3. I don't care.
Whatever. That'd be
30th would be the end of the month.
Okay, Thanksgiving weekend.
Well, the 23rd we'll be recording the day before Thanksgiving. Is a
Mhm,
Tuesday,
mhm.
and then the 30th would be the following Thursday
So,
or
yeah,
Tuesday.
Whatever,
Sorry,
whatever you
so-
pick. I don't care.
Well, it's your trade talk.
I'll be ready next week if you want.
Well,
It's only 4 issues.
All right, now it's the 30th.
Okay,
Just
it's the
'cause you said
30th.
the
Okay,
30th.
the 30th. The 30th, we will talk Ice Cream Man. It's a little horror anthology. It gets you in the mood for the holidays. So yeah,
We
so
should
that-
all be forced to watch the Clint Howard Ice Cream Man movie as well. I think just
I
because
love Clint Howard. Yeah,
we'll see how much you love him after watching Ice Cream.
Yeah. All right. He and Ron Howard were on Wait, Don't Tell Me a couple weeks ago, and it was quite entertaining. So yeah, that's all I got. You guys good? You got anything else?
No, sir.
Wrapping it up. All right. Sal and I are going to have our All Foundation episode of ACTV
Oh my
this
God.
Sunday. It's going to be
No.
amazing. We'll be
No,
back next Tuesday. In the
done with
meantime,
that stupid show. In between time,
we'll be everywhere in
and
around
around comics.
Falling asleep during foundation.
Gets good around it.